As you can see here, this is the map of East Asia. East Asia is made up of 6 countries. They are China, Japan, Mongolia, North Korea, South Korea, and the de facto country of Taiwan. We said that Taiwan is not considered a country. It is considered as a de facto country. Who can tell me why? Why it is considered as a de facto country? Yes, yeah, Judy.
Judy, okay. Because it's not legally recognized.
Yes, it's not legally recognized as a country. Okay. The region's largest country is China. So what's the region largest country? It will be China. And it's also the fourth largest country in land area. So China is very famous because it's the region's largest country, and at the same time, it's the world fourth largest country in land area. So the first question for today, if you're taking notes, what makes Taiwan a de facto country? The second question, what is the largest what is the region's largest country? And the world fourth largest country in land area, it would be China. This question can come on the form of complete question. All right?
مش المفروض رشا يا مس؟
English, please.
رشا.
I'm talking about in land area, land.
يا رشا مش
And it is the fourth largest country, the fourth.
China or Russia?
We're talking about China. China is the world's fourth largest country, okay? Fourth. Let's continue. Mainland East Asia, which include China and Mongolia, can be divided into 3 subregions. Very important questions. The mainland of East Asia is divided into 3 geographic subregions. What are they? Let's see. The first one can be divided into 3 subregions like steppes. The highest step or the first one is the plateau of Tibet. Much of it is more than 2.5 miles above the sea level. So the first subregion is the plateau of Tibet. Okay. 1 minute, I admit the others. The plateau of Tibet. It has also, or it is encircled by high mountains. The Chan range is on the north, and on the south, there are the Himalaya mountains, which are the tallest mountain in the world. So we have 3 subregions like steppes. The first one or the highest one is the the plateau of Tibet. The second one or the middle step is in the north and east of Tibet and has lower mountains and plateaus. Much of lands to the north is desert or near desert. It is desert land or near desert land. Okay, along the southern part is forested. There are deep canyons where the land descends from Tibet. So we have the first subregion is the highest step and the middle step, and the last one is the low hills and plains from the third lowest step. So how many regions are there in the subregions? Who can tell me how many regions?
3.
3 regions. What are they? The highest? Yes.
The middle and low.
Yes.
The low hills.
The high step, the middle step, and the low hills plains or the lowest step. The highest one coming from the plateau of Tibet. The middle step is in the north and east of Tibet. And the last one or the lowest one covers most of eastern third of China, and most Chinese people live on these plains. So where do most Chinese people live? They live on the plains, which is covering the lowest step. In addition to the mainland, East Asia include also a large peninsula between the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan, which we call it the East Sea. So we have peninsula between which seas the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. It is home to 2 countries, which is North Korea and South Korea. So where is North Korea and South Korea located? They are located in the peninsula between the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan or the East Sea. In the south and the west, port plains stretch between the mountains and the coast, which bring us to very important question, which how did Japan archipelago form? Japan is not like any kind of land. Japan is archipelago. Archipelago means, what does it mean, or what's meant by archipelago? Yes, yeah.
Is a group of islands.
Yes, yeah, Kenzie, huh? Group of islands.
Sorry,
So
I'm so sorry.
no problem, Mackenzie, no problem. So
It's a group of
Japan,
islands.
yes, Japan is considered like archipelago because it is made of a group of islands. But there is a reason behind the forming of Japan. Anyone know how Japan is formed? How was Japan formed, or these islands were formed? The islands of Japan are part of, huh? Who can?
Miss, can you say the question again?
Yes. How was the islands of Japan formed? How they are formed?
What can I say?
Yes.
Because of the ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean and the volcanic eruptions.
Thank you very much. Yes, the islands of Japan were formed by volcanic eruptions because they are located on the ring, or they are part of the ring of fires around the Pacific Ocean. So these volcanic eruptions has happened millions of years ago, and in mountain Fuji, a beautiful cone-shaped volcano is well known as sample of Japan. So the mountain Fuji is considered a sample of Japan. Japan also is or one of the most earthquake prone countries in the world. It is known as one of the most earthquake prone. There are lots of earthquakes happens in Japan every year. And when an earthquake occurs below or close to the ocean, it can cause something called a tsunami. What's meant by tsunami? Yes, yeah. Hannah Hamzi.
It is a giant ocean wave caused by an earthquake under the ocean floor.
Thank you very much. It's a huge wave actually that gets higher as it approaches the coast. Tsunamis can wipe out coastal cities or towns, so they are very dangerous. So again, because Japan is one of the most earthquake-prone countries in the world, it has the danger of being suffering from tsunamis. 100 miles southwest of Japan mainlands lies another large island, which is Taiwan. Taiwan also is like Japan. It is also formed by a volcanic activity. So we have Japan and we have Taiwan. Taiwan also is an island. It is also formed by a volcanic activity, and mountains stretch the length of the island. On the western side of the island, there is also gentler slope than on the steep eastern side. Broad plains spread across the western part of the island. So we have the island of Japan, we have the island of Taiwan, which are has formed. Both of them has been forming because of volcanic eruptions. How many seas do we have in East Asia? Actually, we have four seas set along the eastern edge of East Asia: the South China Sea, the East China Sea. In the north, also, we have the Yellow Sea, and we have the fourth one, or the last one, which is the Japan Sea. So, how many seas do we have, or the East Sea? How many seas do we have in this area? And name them.
Or
Yes, Yarim. Tell me the names of these seas.
the South China Sea, the East China Sea,
Yes?
the Yellow Sea, and the Japan Sea.
Yes, thank you very much. So these seas are located in different places. The four seas set along the eastern edge of East Asia. The South China Seas lies between southeastern China and Taiwan, between China and Taiwan, okay? We have the East China Sea, which lies between China and Japan. In the north, it meets the Yellow Sea, which is shaped by the Korean Peninsula, And also we have the Northeastern Sea, which is or the Asian mainland nearly surrounded the Sea of Japan, which we call it East Sea. So the Sea of Japan also considered the East Sea. Also, East Asia has very important rivers, two important rivers. Here we'll find a question to compare between the two rivers of East Asia, the Huanghe or the Yellow River, and the Changying, which is the Yangtze River. So how many rivers do we have? We have two rivers. We have the Huanghe Yellow River and the Changying, which is called the Yangtze River. The Huanghe gets its name from the yellow-brown silt, which is called loess. This silt deposits, of course, by flood and has created a broad of fertile plain. If we are talking about the rivers, of course, we'll be talking about the silt, which will be depositing around the river and will be a rich, fertile soil for farming. We call this loess. We call it loess. Silt deposits by the flood and has created a broad of fertile plain that has some China's best farmland. Also, these floods have also caused much damage. So, as long as we have floods, we'll have benefits and also we have damages. Floods will damage the place, will damage the area, but at the same time, it leaves us with a plenty of fertile soil, which is the silt. This is for the first one with the Huanghe or the Yellow River. The second one was the Changyang, is the longest river in Asia and China's principal waterway. Because it provides water for the most important crop in China, which is a farming rice, because the most important crop there is rice. So if I am going to compare between the two rivers, I will write first their names, the Changyang or Yangtze River and the Huanghe or the Yellow River. I will say about the first one, the Huanghe, it gets its name because it's called Yellow River because it has yellow-brown silt around it, called loess. This silt is deposited by floods. It leaves us with fertile soil. But also these floods can cause us damages. Okay, this is the first one. The second one is the Changyang, longest river in China, and it is very important waterway because it helps us with the water for the farming rice. Who can tell me information about the two main rivers in China? Who can tell me information about the two main rivers in China? Yes, let's see. Okay, Reem, start with Reem.
The Yellow River.
That's
It's called yellow because the brown silt. It's called loess.
yes.
And the silt deposit by flood. It may cause damage and lose life.
Thank you very much, Yarim.
Have fertile soil.
Thank you very much, Yarim. The second one is. Who can tell me about the second one? Yeah, Judy. Okay.
The Changyang is the longest river in Asia and China's principal waterway.
Yeah.
And it provides water for rice farming.
Thank you very much. This is all about the rivers. So we have talked about the rivers, the seas, and now let's move about the climate. We have different types of climate in the area. The main factors that affect climate, this is the first question. What are the factors that affect climates? We have many factors: latitude, elevation, air masses. These are the three factors that can affect the climate.
Miss, can you change the slides because we only see the map?
Yes, I don't want to change the style. I just want the map.
Miss.
Okay, no problem. You can follow up from the book. So the first one is or now we are talking about the climate there. What are the main factors that affect climate? The main factors that affect the climate is latitude, elevation, and air masses. Latitude means that the region, although the region spans in a great distance from north to south, but it also has different types of climate. We know that two areas at the same latitude can vary because of its elevation. If they have different elevation, they will have different types of weather. If an area is higher than the other one, it will have different type of climate. Also, air masses. Air masses mean that cold, dry, or polar air spread from the north in Asia in colder months. Warm, moist tropical air spreads from northward and eastward from the Pacific Ocean in warmer months. So also we can find out that the air masses can change the climate. If there is warm air coming to the area, it will change the climate. If there is a cold air coming to the area, it will also change the climate. So what are the three reasons that affect climate? Latitude, elevation, air masses. So who can repeat the question? What are the three reasons that affect the climate? Who can tell me? Yes. Hannah Durgham.
Latitude, elevation, air mass.
What's meant by latitude? Who can tell me what's meant by latitude?
Can I say?
Yes.
It's an imaginary line that runs from east to west.
Yes. And this area actually has a very, very big latitude. It stretches or a distance from north to south. So because of this big area of latitude, you'll find difference in climate. The second one is elevation. Does two areas at the same latitude can have the same climate?
No.
Why?
Sometimes.
No.
Yes. Yes, Yarim, why?
Because one is higher than the other.
Yeah, so elevation affects the same areas in the same region if they have difference in elevation. Also, the air masses. What's meant by air masses? How can the air mass change the weather, Maya?
A cool, dry polar air mass spreads southward from northern Asia during the colder months of the year.
Yes.
It makes it called the rain.
Thank you very much. Yes. So we'll be dividing the climate in the area like it is. In southeastern China, it is hot and rainy much of the year with lush vegetation. But to the north, there is more seasonal variation. So in southeastern of China, it is hot and rainy most of the year. In Taiwan, Japan, and Korean Peninsula are generally wetter and have milder temperature than mainland areas at the same latitude. So we have two types of climate here. The first one, in China, it's hot, rainy much of the year. We have in Japan, Taiwan, and the Korean Peninsula, it is generally wetter and milder temperature. We have also the climate in Mongolia and the north central and the northwestern China. It is dry. Winters are bitterly cold. And this region include Gobi Desert and the Teglimcan Desert, as well as the treeless grassland. The fourth part of the climate is the Plateau of Tibet. The Plateau of Tibet is also located in the southwestern China. It is also has dry climate, but the Himalaya block moist air flowing northward from the Indian Ocean. Because of the elevation, the plateau is very cold and windy through the year. So although the Plateau of Tibet has a dry climate, but the Himalaya, because it is very high, it is very cold and windy. And this wind is coming from the Indian Ocean. So here we have four different types of climate. We have the climate in China, actually in southeastern China. We have the climate in Taiwan and Japan. We have the climate in Mongolia, and we have the climate in the Plateau of Tibet. you can highlight them in the practice book, page 160. At the end of the page, you'll find two different types of climate. The climate of southeastern China, the climate of Mongolia, the climate of Japan and Taiwan as two islands together, and the climate of the plateau of Tibet. There is a question here says, how do the Himalaya affect the climate of the plateau of Tibet? Who can answer this question? How do the Himalaya mountains affect the climate of plateau of Tibet? Maya?
The Himalayan mountains block moist air flowing northward from the Indian Ocean.
And because of its elevation, the plateau is?
Cold and windy throughout the year.
Thank you very much. Because of its elevation, the plateau is very cold and windy throughout the year. It also, the Himalaya block bring moist air, which is flowing northward from the Indian Ocean. The last part from the lesson today is the natural resources. What types of natural resources do we have in East Asia? Actually, we have variety also of natural resources. China hold the greatest share of the region resources. Japan also is one of the world leading industrial countries. We have two leading industrial countries in the region. We have Japan and we have Taiwan. So if I told you this question, name the two major industrial countries in East Asia, you will mention Japan and Taiwan. What are the two or the most important industrial countries in East Asia? In East Asia, you will mention Japan and Taiwan. Also, we'll mention that China has the greatest share.
Japan and what?
Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but China hold the most or the greatest share of the region resources. Japan and Taiwan has industry, but they are lacking in the raw materials. But China has materials more than these two countries. We have mineral resources in East Asia. In China, we have tin, zinc, iron. We have other minerals. In Japan, you can find the coal, the copper, and some iron, and also other minerals. The largest deposits of fossil fuels are found also in China. And China is the world's largest producer of coal. It is also, it has also large oil and natural gas reservoir. So China has largest producer of coal, has largest deposits of fossil fuels. It is also considered as a natural and oil gas reserve under the South China Sea. Also, because we have plenty of rivers or we have plenty of bodies of water, you'll find the hydroelectric power, which is used in Japan to produce electricity. Okay. Also, the last question here will be why it is necessary for people in Taiwan and Japan to import woods. In China and in the other countries, you'll find that their land is covered by forests. Although it is covered by forests, people cut the trees down for heating and for building farmlands. But actually, in places like Japan and Taiwan, you'll find people there importing wood, although they have plenty of forests. Why they are importing woods? Because trees or forest area there considered to be scared. So they cannot cut trees. It's considered very sacred. It's considered to be sacred, so they cannot cut the trees. So that's why people have to import woods and what products in Japan and in Taiwan. Okay? That's all for this lesson today. I'm gonna be uploading the homework sheet, okay? Inshallah, and I'm gonna be waiting for the homework sheet till the end of the week. By Saturday, you should be sending the sheet. Anyone wants to ask any question?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, see you tomorrow, inshallah.
Bye.